must be out your shit. Yo, just put up a 6. Bitch, I'm geek, like what's this? Come out when I need a hit. Slump will knock you out your shit.
YouTube. Yo, this is for YouTube. The YouTube audience. YouTube. Hey. Hero with 1,000 Faces is fucking boring. It's boring. It's a boring book. I'm not reading it anymore. I'm done. I'm finished. I'm done. I'm done. Now, welcome to the new book. The Map of Consciousness Explained by David R. Hawkins. Way less story, BS. This is just a straightforward book. Okay? Yes. Say hi, YouTube. Help. Yes. Praise for the Map of Consciousness Explained. I recommend this book for every spiritual aspirant for climbing the unseen ladder of real spiritual progress. Okay, you see, like they're making the book more spiritual than anything else. So just keep that in mind. I'm not jacking this as some type of scientific thing, but you can definitely take it on a spiritual level, okay? So this is the Map of Consciousness right here. Starts at the bottom. We've got our different categories here. God view, life view, level, log, which I guess is the frequency number, emotion, and process, okay? And he's going to explain all of these things in fairly in-depth, okay? The first time I saw my husband's Map of Consciousness, it was on a chalkboard in the hallway at home. I asked him, "What's that?" He said, "Oh, that's the Map of Consciousness." He explained to me that he'd created it to help people understand the world. Each level of consciousness has its own view of life, view of God, view of self, emotion, and process. On a single chart, you see the entire world. It shows a path out of the pits of despair all the way to the state of enlightenment. As soon as David explained the map to me, I saw how it could bring hope to humanity. For decades, he had worked as a psychiatrist with all kinds of people who were suffering, even cases of extreme mental illness. He knew the importance in psychiatry of giving someone a tool to inspire them to come out of their despair. He created the map as a tool for learning and inspiration. I said, "You've got to share this with people." He told me he wasn't sure he wanted to go out into the public. So I spoke the words I knew he couldn't refute. "David, this map would really help people." After that, nah, she's tough, because that's how you would get me too. I'm not even gonna lie. If I was gatekeeping some shit, which I am, let's be honest, I'm gatekeeping a lot. But if somebody was like, "Yo, people need this. They need this. This would change. This would feed generations," I'll be like, shit. Let me here go 2 more for you. Facts. After that, he published his first book about the map, Power versus Force, the hidden determinants of human behavior. Little did I know that we'd spend the next 20 years traveling the world, sharing the Map of Consciousness. Tough. She's tough. When I was on stage with him, I witnessed how he would say things in a powerful way, and suddenly people's faces would light up. They got it. It was so fulfilling to see that response and to know that someone's life was changed. For Dave, it was never about himself. He cared only about the message and its impact on others. He had a contagious sense of humor. It was impossible not to laugh whenever he was laughing. He didn't care about appearances or getting approval from others because he knew who and what he was. The benefits of the map. The map that David created has a scale of consciousness from the bottom of human experience to the top. He developed it so we would understand why there are both low and high energies in the world, and why some people do horrible things while other people are purely loving. The scale goes from 0 to 1,000 and it's logarithmic. Dave hired a statistician, to make sure logarithms were correct. Then he put the emotions and other elements that go along with each level of consciousness so we would understand what it feels like to be in shame 20 versus love 500. Some people go for the numbers, others for the words. Dave presented his work in different ways to reach people with different learning styles. David is tough. I fuck with him for this, bro. I OD fuck with him for this. David wanted to reassure those who are suffering that there's something better ahead. As you'll read later, he himself experienced the whole map, from the very bottom to the top. He lived by the map and demonstrated it in his life, in his lectures, and through his sense of humor. Yo, she's big on this guy's jokes. She's big on the ha-has of her man. Maybe you think he's so funny because you're fucking the nigga, okay? You ever thought about that? Just keep bringing up his humor. I've never met anyone as driven as he was to do anything he could to help others. That's why he created the map. He used it as a tool to inspire people to become more loving and compassionate. Nearly every day I hear from someone who says the map changed their life. Some people have gotten free from the grips of heroin, alcohol, and other hopeless addictions. Others have healed from various illnesses and emotional struggles. Whatever the life problem, the map gave them a pathway out of their suffering. Bro, I like this book more already. Okay, I like this book more already, Chad. Straightforward, bro, and I like that. If this is your first book on the subject, you don't need to feel intimidated. The map is a simple, common sense tool, and you don't have to be a genius to understand it. The pages ahead have everything you need to know to move forward in your life, explaining how the world works, why things happen as they do, and how you can realize your fullest potential. The map can explain some of your life's problems and also remind you of your highest calling. Just read and see for yourself how it applies to you. Anyone can use the map from any religion or no religion. When I was in high school, one of my best friends, who happened to be Jewish, asked me, if there's a God, why do we have all the wars? The map tells us why. It puts the world into perspective. Wars allow millions of people to die for something larger than themselves. At the moment that they walk into a hail of bullets, they cross over the critical line of courage on the map. Dave said that our biggest problem, spirituality, is the self-centered ego. And it takes courage and dedication to overcome it. That's the courage we see in soldiers who risk their lives for something higher than their egos. And you know what's funny about that? It's like a lot of the stuff too, when you think about the map, when you're using it as a reference for experiences, I think it's a way, this is good, because it's a way to make subjective experiences more objective. Like, more objective, not objective absolutely, but it gives it more of a communal sense where we can share experiences through a written framework. Okay, so that's very nice. But have you guys ever thought about dying for something? Like, have you guys ever thought about the actual action of dying for something? Like, all right, let's say going to war or something. Have you ever thought about how that would go for you? Like, you know, like how that would actually go. And it's like, all right, you can have courage to, I don't know, like courage to do something small. But it's like, okay, when you're talking about putting your life on the line to die, we all can feel it inside of us that is a different level of courage that takes a lot of effort, or at least some type of like, it's gonna take something else besides just being that kind of person. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think we can all feel it. Like, put yourself in there. Put yourself on the battlefield. Oh, it's your first battle. The guns is going. Hey, only 20% of us are gonna make it out of here alive. Let's go. That word. Like, and I think that's a good reference for relating to the more subjective experiences on the map that they describe. Okay, so when we're going through this, let's just try to like really put ourselves in those states, like put ourselves in so we can understand like, okay, how these things actually work, like actually, like, because honestly I think that we've experienced everything on the map in very small doses all the time, but I think we've heard enough stories. We've all, you know, known people, different types of people with different experiences. And I think it makes it more relatable to expand it than it does to make it like just personal to your experience, okay? That's the courage we see in soldiers who risk their lives for something higher than their egos, their country or God or fellows. Athletes do it in their way when they seek to win for their team or their country instead of wanting fame for themselves. Or they dedicate their efforts to someone suffering from cancer or another illness. See, you could think about my son Jalen Brunson. Brunson, what? You don't think it takes courage to do what that man did, bro? What? Nah, like what? When we dedicate what we're doing to something larger than ourselves, then we are coming from a higher place. The map shows us that terrible things such as war actually serve a purpose. They help us to evolve spiritually. By us, do they mean like by us? Do they mean like, all right, there's a war in Iran. They saying war actually serves a purpose to help us grow spiritually. How is the war in Iran helping me grow spiritually, bro? Hope. When people are down, they need hope. The map gives hope. It shows us that if we are down in self-hatred or hopelessness, we can turn our lives around by aiming for a higher level. We see this turning point every day in groups like Alcoholics Anonymous, with people recovering from addiction. From a place of total despair, their life turns around. When they reach the level of courage 200 on the map, that's the point when their lives change, because they found the courage to tell the truth about themselves instead of blaming someone else. From there, the level of willingness 310 is important. That's the level of being willing to learn, willing to be helpful to others, willing to grow, willing to be kind, willing to work at something. There's always hope, even on the worst days. Some days are so hard, I say to myself, I don't ever want to redo today. The map helps us know that one bad day isn't the end of life. As Scarlett O'Hara said in Gone with the Wind, I'll think about it tomorrow. The map shows that we are all on a journey. Just because we don't like the scenery we are now doesn't mean the whole journey will look bad. Beautiful scenery lies ahead if we have the willingness to trust the process. Hope is good. We like hope. We like hope. We do. All right, next, overcoming difficulties. People say that the map helps them have compassion for humankind. They see that a lot of the world lives on the lower levels of consciousness, such as guilt, fear, and anger. And this means that such people can't help but lie, kill, and steal. Facts. That's where we get the I Hate Brokies tea that we made, the I Hate Brokies. Brokies are basically people, just low consciousness people that lie, cheat, steal to get what they want. Facts. That's a brokey, okay? Each level has its own reality. If you live on the level of fear or anger, that's how you act. Just knowing this helps us not to judge those who act in ways that may seem strange to us. I guess, bro. Like, to be honest, I get what he's saying, where it's like, oh, they can't help it. Oh, these people can't help it. They don't know. Like, they can't help it. Man, I swear, nobody, well, I think very few people as a kid, their parents were just like, it's good to be mean. You should be mean to everybody. You should just be mad all the time. Anger is good. Anger is good. I doubt it, bro. So I don't know what the fuck he's talking about, bro. Maybe fear and guilt might be more understandable, but like anger, I'd be like, come on, bro, just fucking relax. But yeah, even if you're at the level of courage or above, you probably don't stay there all the time. Something comes up to test you. Everyone goes through episodes of the lower levels. For instance, after the death of a loved one, you might have a lot of grief to process or fear of the unknown. In the case of divorce, you might be angry for a while until it dawns on you that you're actually better off without that person and situation. Amen, amen, amen. Can I get an amen in the chat? As Dave writes in this book, life gives us trials. We are going through difficulties for a purpose. When we're right in the throes of a struggle, it's hard to see the meaning of it. So we have to have faith that there is an overall purpose to it. David taught me that we can ask, what's the purpose of this? We come to know that we're not alone in it. There's a higher power looking out for us to help us grow. For example, when we really want something but don't get it, then we may realize later, I'm so glad I didn't get that. Dave often said, love brings up its opposite. This means that when we commit to becoming more loving, life will bring us people who are difficult to love. Ha ha ha, LOL, that's not funny. Every action brings forth an equal and opposite reaction, yes. I'm tested every day by people and situations. Dave taught me that you can't please everyone, and that's a hard lesson to learn. Sometimes it's necessary to say no. Sometimes when someone snaps at you, it's better to walk away rather than stand there and argue with a negative person. If you walk away, this gives them the chance to feel the impact of their negativity. It can be a teaching moment if they are willing. If they are willing. In all life's moments, learning occurs. Sometimes we're the teacher and sometimes we're the student. W. Embrace what you are. A wonderful goal is to live at the level of love, 500. But this isn't easy. Many people come to me and say, I'm in the 500s. They think they live at the level of love, but it's more fantasy than fact. When you read about that level of love in this book, you'll see that there's almost no one who lives at it. You'd have to be close to a saint. If you're in the 400s, which is the level of reason, high functioning, and seeking the truth for its own sake, then you're doing well. You might have glimpses of a higher level, but it takes constant devotion to live there, and no one can take you there. You can experience it, and then you have to do the inner work to get there and stay there. You can't force yourself to achieve a higher level. That's ego. It has to come from willingness, essence, and heart. David says in this book that basic kindness to others plays a major role in daily life and spiritual progress. Nice. Okay. For instance, if you see an old lady having trouble with her grocery cart, let her go in front of you. Maybe she's tired of standing. Maybe she is. Be kind to the pregnant mom with a screaming kid in her cart. Instead of giving her a dirty look and judging her as a bad mother, let her go in front of you. What's 10 more minutes? If your goal is to evolve, then kindness is a vital tool. Okay. Another point that Dave emphasizes is that one level is not better than another because each level has its own responsibility. I like this point too. Just try to be as good a person as you can be and to live in that space for as long as you can. Wow. When you reach the level of acceptance, 350, then you have embraced who and what you are. We all come in at different levels, and it takes total commitment to evolve to a higher level. Wearing white robes and saying the right words doesn't mean you're on a higher level. It means your ego thinks you are. If you have the capacity to be honest and not judge anything as high or low, then you'll have a good self-understanding and inner sense of where you are on the map. If you want to evolve, just look at where you can improve yourself. Be honest about your weaknesses. Maybe you are impatient and need to be kinder. Maybe you're attached or addicted to something and need to have the courage to surrender it. Maybe you're a doormat and need to stop letting people walk all over you. I like the saying, first time, shame on you. Second time, shame on me. Just because someone is a family member or colleague doesn't mean you allow them to mistreat you. Okay, obvious. Sometimes people think they will evolve by immersing themselves in the highest energy fields. They tell me, I'm only going to listen to music and read books that are at the very top of the map. They judge everything in the world as lower. This is the spiritual ego's holier than thou attitude. If they were at the level they think they are, they would see their error. Facts. Facts. The ego likes to be special. The ego says, I'm here and you're there. That's not what the map is for. It's a tool for you to learn and grow. If you're honest about what you struggle with, you'll see how to overcome it and automatically move up the map. Dave never once said, I am an enlightened teacher, yet I saw him live at that level. He was very humble and down to earth. He didn't see himself as any better than anyone else. He just knew he had a responsibility to share what he was and help the world any way he could. When you are it, you don't have to say anything about yourself. At the higher levels, you have no interest in promoting yourself. I saw Dave meet with people who needed his help as a doctor, and all they gave him in return was a sack of coffee. Wow. After he passed away, it took me 2 years to do something with all that coffee. This book is dedicated to his memory because his life gives us a wonderful example of selfless service for the betterment of humankind. I hope and pray you find this book helpful for your journey. As Dave told us, straight and narrow is the path. Waste no time. Fire, fire, fire. Okay. I'm fucking with it. I am.